Hello and welcome to Awaz News. I am Kubra Ali and I'll be taking you through big news across Canada.
Toronto man accused of sex trafficking two underage girls across Ontario. We just want a clear plan, Ford says ahead of meeting with Trudeau on Trump tariff threat. 5 more people arrested in extortion-related incidents in Peel region. Recall, piece of metal found in healthy granola bars. Cyclists file charter challenge against Ontario over bike lane removals. Outbreak of infectious intestinal illness declared among Toronto's underhoused community. Bank of Canada delivers jumbo interest rate cut, signals slower pace of cuts moving forward.
These were the headlines. Now let's jump right into the details.
A Toronto man who allegedly sex trafficked 2 underage girls across Ontario is facing charges following a multi-jurisdictional police investigation. Ontario Provincial Police OPP announced the results of Project Shrewsbury on Wednesday and said police in Sudbury and Kingston began investigating in August. It's alleged that those 2 police services received information that month about a male suspect who was recruiting and transporting 2 young females from their jurisdictions for the purpose of sex trafficking. The OPP's Provincial Human Trafficking Intelligence-led Joint Forces Strategy IJFS led the investigation, and Peel Regional Police also became involved after police determined the alleged offences against the victims took place somewhere in the Greater Toronto area. As a result of the months-long investigation, the OPP said police arrested and charged 37-year-old Toronto resident Sheldon Lester Saunders on November 20th. He's facing 11 charges, including assault, causing bodily harm, advertising sexual services, procuring under 18 years, and possession of child pornography. The ages of the victims were not released, and it is unclear where exactly the alleged offences occurred. Saunders is set to appear in Brampton courtroom on December 16. OPP is asking anyone with the information related to the investigation to contact their local police service. Ontario Premier Doug Ford is softening his language a day after telling a U.S. media outlet that he plans to hold Prime Minister Justin Trudeau accountable for managing the threat of tariffs from U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. We just want a clear plan for the trade deal, Ford told Awaz News Wednesday morning. And when the president says we have to tighten up the border and all the premiers agree we have to tighten it up, we need to see a strong plan. Hopefully, the Prime Minister will come with a strong plan on securing our borders. Ford's comments come as he prepares to meet with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and the other premiers to discuss the threat of a 25% tariff on all Canadian imports to the U.S. A day earlier, Premier Doug Ford, Fox News reporter Aisha Hasni, that he and the other premiers plan to hold the Prime Minister accountable. Ford also said he would be more than happy to fly down to Florida tomorrow if Trump has a few minutes to discuss the tariff threat himself. But asked Wednesday if he thinks he should be the one negotiating with Trump instead of Trudeau, Ford said that's not the case. Trump has demanded that Canada tightens borders to stem the flow of fentanyl migrants or else face the sweeping tariffs. Trudeau responded to the threat by flying down to Florida to have dinner with Trump at his Mar-a-Lago resort. While the meeting was hailed as a success, Trump has since mocked Trudeau, referring to him in social media posts as Governor Justin Trudeau and referring to Canada as one of the U.S. states. Trudeau has nonetheless said that Canada is ready to spend more on border security. Ford, who has said that the U.S. trade relationship matters more to Ontario than any other jurisdiction in Canada, has said he welcomes that news. As an example, Ford said that in Windsor, local police are called upon to patrol the border waters because CBSA does not have a boat there. He called the arrangement staggering. Ford also said that Ontario officials are in contact with U.S. governors, senators, and congressional representatives on a daily basis to reiterate the importance of free trade. Ontario's total trade with the US in 2023 has valued at around $500 billion, according to the provincial government. Trudeau and the premiers are expected to discuss the results of their meeting Wednesday afternoon. 5 more people have been arrested in connection with extortion-related incidents that targeted South Asian businesses in Brampton and Mississauga. Peel Regional Police announced arrests in a news release on Wednesday afternoon. They have now arrested 21 people and laid 154 charges as part of their extortion investigative task force launched in 2023. Victims of these incidents are often contacted through social media platforms such as WhatsApp and Facebook, which allow online chat groups, police said. They alleged the suspects would demand large sums of money from victims under the threat of violence. 3 of the 5 suspects are from Brampton, while the other 2 are from Hamilton and British Columbia, respectively. They have been identified as 25-year-old Harmanjeet Singh, 44-year-old Tejinder Tatla, 21-year-old Rukhsar Achas Zai, 24-year-old Dinesh Kumar, and 27-year-old Banduman Sikhon. They are facing a total of 16 charges. The investigators have also led to the seizure of 20 firearms, 11 kilograms of meth, more than $10,000 in proceeds of crime, and recovery of 6 stolen vehicles. Healthy snack food company Made Good is recalling a number of granola bars sold in Ontario and across Canada due to its potential hazard. The company issued a voluntary recall after 7 customer complaints saying there is a very small risk some of their granola bars products may contain a piece of metal. Made Good describes a piece of metal as a small flat brush bristle. The affected products were made between January and November of this year, and the company is advising consumers to check UPCs and expiry dates on any packaging on items already purchased. The granola bars in question include the flavors chocolate banana, chocolate chip regular and mini, mixed berry, cookies and cream, strawberry, and variety packs. Chocolate drizzled granola bars in the flavors birthday cake, vanilla, and cookie crumble are also affected. The full list of affected products can be found here. Made Good says purchasers can return the recalled products to the store where they were purchased for a full refund. There have been no reported injuries tied to the recall, and the company says the source of the issue has been dealt with. This is the second recall in Canada in a week's time that has involved metal in food. At the time, CFIA said the recall was linked to the use of Sifto brand high-grade salt, which had previously been recalled in October. A total of 37 different bagel products were impacted by the recall. Cyclists have launched a charter challenge against the Ontario government over its decision to remove bike lanes on 3 Toronto roads. Cycle Toronto and 2 cyclists allege the province's upcoming removal of bike lanes on Bloor Street, Yonge Street, and University Avenue puts lives at risk. They say the bike lane removals, which are now enshrined in law, violate a section of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. They argue the province's action infringe on the rights of cyclists, pedestrians, and other road users by depriving them of life and security of the person. The group is seeking an injunction to prevent the removal of those bike lanes. The Transportation Minister and the Attorney General did not immediately respond to request for comment. Associate Medical Officer of Health Dr. Howard Shapiro said they are aware of 9 cases of intestinal disease among people experiencing or at high risk of homelessness in the city. The spokesperson for TPH said the current investigation shows the onset of symptoms for the first outbreak case occurred on or after September 3rd, although it is not known where the individuals who contracted the illness were staying. As of November 28, there have been a total of 101 cases of shigellosis reported to TPH in 2024, compared to 119 in all of 2023. The health unit, which first reported on the outbreak in its December 9 newsletter for physicians, said that while the number of cases in the city as a whole is not unusual, it is out of character to see 9 infections in the underhoused community. On average, there are one of the two cases reported in this segment of Toronto's population at any given time, TPED said. Shapiro went on to say that the public health is engaging Toronto shelter and support services along with the healthcare providers and social service agencies to ensure that they are informed about the current situation and protocols to reduce the risk of transmission for clients and staff in these service settings. He said this includes ensuring that shelter staff continue to follow infection prevention and control measures already in place, like continued use of a personal protective equipment, enhanced cleaning, and symptom screening and monitoring. The investigation is ongoing, Shapiro said. Bank of Canada delivered another hefty interest rate cut, but Governor Tiff Macklem said Canadians should expect a slower pace of cuts moving forward. The central bank's half percentage point reduction on Wednesday marked the fifth consecutive time it's lowered its policy rate, bringing it to 3.25%. Forecasters were widely expecting the jumbo cut after the November labor force survey showed the unemployment rate rose to 6.8%. Governor Tiff Macklem said in his prepared statement that the central bank opted for two large rate cuts in a row because economic growth doesn't need to be restricted anymore now that inflation is back at its target. However, the governor signaled Wednesday that the bank will likely slow down the pace of cuts going forward. The bank's benchmark rate now sits at the upper bound of the neutral rate range. The neutral rate, which the central bank estimates is somewhere between 2.25% and 3.25%, reflects a theoretical interest rate that will neither help nor hinder economic growth. Macklem mentioned in his remarks that economic growth came in weaker than the Bank of Canada had forecast for the third quarter. Looking ahead, the central bank says it expects economic growth next year to be weaker than previously forecast due to the federal government's reduction in immigration. Macklem also acknowledged the significant amount of economic uncertainty looming over Canada with the threat of U.S. tariffs. The central bank will publish new forecasts for the economy on January 29th, following the U.S. presidential inauguration. Economists are now widely anticipating the Bank of Canada to stick to quarter-point reductions in 2025. CIBC expects the central bank will lower its policy rate by quarter point at its next four meetings, bringing it to 2.2%. RBC is forecasting the benchmark rate to fall to 2% by mid-2025. Economist Claire Fan said interest rate will need to fall into simulative territory near next year to jolt the economy back to a healthy pace of growth. Federal Liberals, who have been struggling to make a political comeback since inflation and interest rates took off, were quick to celebrate the rate cut. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau called it a step in the right direction to bring down costs of Canadians on Twitter. Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland told reporters on Parliament Hill the rate cut was good news and suggests the government's economic plan is working.
Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kubra Ali. I'll see you back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good night.